so I was stationed in Fort Hood, and so that's how I ended up in Texas. I've been in Texas since 1994, a TSU graduate. So historically, being in an African American community has always been very important to me. So this fits perfect to be in this historic space. How did I get involved with photography? Well, I started with photography because I worked for the YMCA for 18 and a half years. And during the process of working for the YMCA, I worked for affluent communities before I even got to inner city, which I worked in the inner city with my brown and black brothers and sisters. And so I was fed up with seeing the images that I was seeing on the news that portrayed black men, especially. And I just wanted to show a positive image. I was in a space where I was working in the inner city, and I actually could take pictures of people, just regular people, everyday life. And I just wanted to show something different, the family, the love, and change the narrative. That's really how I got involved with photography, is to change the narrative.
That's amazing. So I wanted to know more about what excites you about photography. You said you wanted to, portray black people, especially black men, in a more positive light. But what really drives you to continue on with your practice?
Photography is one of those things that's forever changing. And it's in parallel with life. Because if you live each moment, each second, it changes. Nothing is the same. And for some people, change is hard. But change is a part of life. And some things need to change rather than stay the same. So with photography, it's always different. I can take 100 pictures, and 100 pictures will be different. But I love the innocence of a child, because they're gonna give you, they might feel some kind of way when you first approach them. However, when you show them their picture. So what excites me is the bright light on their face. It's always been my goal is to turn on the inner light of a person or a child, because if you turn on the inner light, that's that survival mode. If you can't get that light on, then more than likely, they're not gonna survive, or they're gonna fall off to the wayside. But if you get that survival mode turned on, it can change generations.
Speaking of it, so my next question is, how, you being a multidisciplinary creative artist, how did you land on your storyboard technique?
I do storyboards. So for many years, I told you I worked for the YMCA for 18 and a half years. But I would do, not storyboards, I would do collages of events and things that happened. But when I put them together, it was always so beautiful. And my supervisors always thought they were so beautiful, they would take them and turn them into awards for like high giving donors. And so that's kind of how it started. It was just to document what was happening, and rather than using many pictures, I kind of just made one picture, and it was just fascinating by other people, and that's kind of how it started. And then as I've grown as an artist, it's my storyboards, the way I do them have grown. The technique has grown. And so, but it really just started something very simplistic as to document. Because a lot of times when you're a person that's of my color, that looks like me, you have to document. Because if they don't see it, they don't believe that it happened. And so even with photography, just the basic, I started out with a 35mm camera. And that was to document my work in order to cover my back. Simple as that. And as time went by, my love for it got stronger and stronger, and everything is just developed. I would get a new camera come out, I go elevate, get a new camera, invest in a camera, until I got to a professional camera. And from there, my first paying gig actually was with the Buffalo Soldier Museum in 2009, I believe. They had a gala. 20 generals came to Houston. First time ever, 20 generals have been in the same space, retired, still on duty, from different branches of the military. That was my first paying gig. And it was a historical moment, and so that's my everything. That's like everything. that's everything. And just to be in the room with that type of power, and I'm not talking about because of their rank. I'm talking about that vibration, the elevation. We talk about elevation. I'm talking about that vibration and the feeling that you have to be in that energy. It's just amazing. And so that just drove me more to just to do more, just record more. Then I started doing video, telling stories with video, recording other people's stories so that it wouldn't get lost. So, you know, they say it's a lot of stories in the cemetery. I didn't want those stories to get lost if I could do anything to capture it. It cost me nothing. For me to capture a story costs zero. However, your payment is that I have to be able to share the story.
Understood. So basically, with your work as a documentarian and historian, tell me more about From Whence We Came, like how that piece came about, and what the story behind that piece is. If you're comfortable sharing.
I guess that's always been part of my life. My grandfather lived to be 101 years old. I stayed with him. And I only stayed with them is because my mom allowed me to stay with them because they lost their baby son in the Vietnam War, June 17, 1969. He was an artist, so his work was always around the house. But it's always was historical pictures, like these old pictures. These people know who they were, you know. So I guess it was embedded in me at a young age, and I didn't know it. Even like the military, I stayed in my uncle's room, and on the wall it was three pictures: a picture of my dad, a picture of my uncle, and a picture of my cousin that was in military uniforms. So every day that I woke up, I saw military. So some things just become part of you just by nature of seeing. And by the way, this is actually my uncle drew this. And I turned in my logo for my History Through the Lens page that I run on Facebook. But he's an artist, and this was something I was able to say that he actually drew. And he also sculptured. He did sculpture also out of wood. So I guess it's always been a part of me. And so Mr. Quentin Meese, he's a historical figure here in the historic Third Ward. He actually was the executive director that actually opened the South Central YMCA in 1954. And I had a chance to meet him, and Mr. Meese was planning his 100th birthday party. And my supervisor, Mr. Sheldon Stovall, took us to this planning event where he had a whole committee, all these people, and everybody had a task and a job. And he was just profound. He's 99 years old. He still typed. He still wrote letters. He still could tell stories. And so I opened the first YMCA in the country to be named after a professional sports team, or you can even say the first YMCA in the world, which is the Houston, Texas YMCA. And Mr. Meese is connected to that. And so on the wall of that Y, I had opportunity to put his timeline together. And with that, it just became a more passionate love to be able to tell the stories and learn more about historical figures, because I was in the same space with him. I talked to him, and I was able to put his legacy up where everybody else could see it. And that just became a part of me, and then I just wanted to do more.
Got it. So from your piece here in Elevation, is that something, how did that come about? What's the story behind that? That looks like Main Street in the back. It is Main Street?
Yeah.
But those two figures in the front, who are those?
So that piece, Elevation, was connected with Elevation, but the pieces From Hence We Came, it's about time. So it's about time periods. You see the two men in the back. They were freedmen, they were enslaved men. It's actually a picture of enslaved men, and I took a picture of a picture. And so those two men were enslaved in Thomas County, Georgia. And so that's one of the pictures that hung on my grandfather's wall that I was telling you about. And the other picture that's in there that you don't see is a picture of his grandmother. Her name is Harriet. The name of my company is Harriet's History Box LLC. So every time I have an opportunity to tell their story, I do. And that's why you see that I have my visuals to be able to tell their story. But we always get such a negative image of our men. Whether it's during a time time of trauma during slavery or anything like that. And I wanted to show two strong men. I want the image that young boys, young girls, and for people to see of strong men, even though they might have been enslaved. They don't always look like the pictures that we're shown with the shirt off and the little teepee thing, but they were family, they're strong men. And so the thing with downtown, that space still looks that way, even though we're in 2024. That is Main Street, that is old Main Street. And so it's connected with time. And actually elevation and transcending as a people and elevating as a people. So elevation fits that perfectly. And there's movement in it also. And you'll see some greenery, which represents life and future. So it's pretty complex.
Oh, I love it. It's a way for people to come and, keep engaging with it. It's not just like, okay, I see it once and then I move on. There's something about it that, pulls your attention and makes you want to come back.
Yes.
So it's an absolutely beautiful piece. We get questions about it all the time.
Yeah, so the other thing is people want us to believe that the enslaved people walked here or that they just magically ended up here. Mm-hmm. But Houston had a port that was downtown, right down Allen's Landing. That's where the port was. So just understand that they brought slaves into that port and sold them at Market Square, because Market Square is right over there. But they're not telling us that story. They don't want us to visually see that story. They just want us to see that space as a beautiful place and what they've turned it into. And it's connected with time. It's all about time. And I told you every day, second, time is changing. We'll never experience the same thing twice. And I don't know if people are realizing there's a great awakening that's happening. And if you really, really understand art or really connect with art spiritually, you'll see the awakening in the art. Whether it's whatever, doesn't matter what type of medium it is. You'll see the awakening, and it's educating and elevating, and we don't even know that it's happening, but it's happening all around us.
Wow, that is amazing. You are just like a treasure trove of so much just knowledge and history. So we're just so honored to have you here, to have your work in this space. I know you, of course, as the historian that you are, know a whole bunch about the El Dorado Ballroom, what it means to their award. But I just wanted to get your thoughts and your feelings about having your work shown here in this space.
I'm beyond thrilled. I'm honored to have my work here, actually, because this is such a historical space. Anna Dupree and Clarence Dupree, they built the El Dorado in 1939, and they are actually two of my favorite people that we don't talk about enough, about how much they invested in the community of Houston and how much they gave of themselves. And I told you I was connected with the YMCA, even with the YMCA, their work with the YMCA as far as connecting the board and Mr. Neese with Lamar Fleming in order to donate the land for South Central YMCA. So they were big components of raising money for the Y. And in Houston, they call it the Colored YMCA, Black YMCA, Bagley Street YMCA, and then South Central YMCA. That was everything. All your businessmen, all your people, that was everything. That was your civil rights movement, was held in that YMCA with those powerful men, powerful black men. That's all I can say, powerful black men. And Clarence Dupree was a powerful black man. And Anna Dupree was a powerful black woman. She was a queen and he was a king. And they built this magnificent facility, and I'm so honored and thrilled to have my work here.
This is fantastic. I think we'll just wrap it up there. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna say one more thing before I leave. Okay, so if anybody doesn't know, people see my hair pulled back all the time. I wear my hair like this almost 99% of the time. When I was in corporate America, I did not. Not most of the times, until I got to a point where I felt like I had lost my identity, my name. My name is Priscilla T Graham. So when you work for a corporate organization, most times you become that corporate organization, YMCA, or whatever that name is. I wanted my name back. And so that's why you hear me say Priscilla T Graham, no period. There's no stopping on the T. That's a continuation. We talk about time and space because change is all along that name. And so I wear my hair back like this is because I got to the point with dealing with people that were in power, that was over me. They didn't see me. They didn't see me. I have very long hair. And I used to wear my hair down all the time. They didn't see me. So I pull my hair back so you can see my face. You can see my eyes. So you can see me. And so that is really the reason why that has become part of my signature, my trademark. It's so that you can see me and I can see you.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, I actually do have one more question and that will be it. What advice do you have for artists and photographers coming up, like you would like to share?
I have a love for the art. If you love something and you get up every day and that's the first thing you want to do, whether you're getting paid or not, that's your love, just do it. Do it and everything else will come. I started 10 years ago just wanting to be an archivist for Freemanstown Preservation Coalition to save the historic brick streets in Freemanstown. And from that, all the documentation and history that I documented has just transcended who I am as a person and who I am as an artist. And that's how it's really historical too. But just get up and love what you do and everything else will come. Everything else will come. The money's gonna come. Because when you're just pure and you have that spiritual connection with it, it's gonna be something great that people are gonna connect with. Everybody's not gonna connect with it, but someone's gonna connect with it. And it only takes one person to believe in what you're doing, to elevate you to the next level. Elevation.